Welcome all, I am back. I'm sorry if the lighting feels weird. I just feel like it's a little bit darker in here and I'm trying to figure out how to just make it better. Anyway, you know, movie room about set up. But we're not talking about the movie room right now. We're talking about Peru. 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 Why can't I say it? Paddington in Peru. I'm an idiot. Let's see if Paddington deserves to stay in Peru or return to London. Let's find out. Chase Lehocky here with the Blue Futon reviewing Paddington in Peru. See, I could say it correctly. I'm a smart little boy. Anyway, what's about pretty simple premise is the third one in the Paddington trilogy, directed by someone else this time. And this time, Paddington needs to go to Peru because his aunt has gone missing. And it's not really his real aunt. It's because when he was a baby cub, he was grabbing for an orange, fell in the river, and was about to get swept away, but he was saved. But now he needs to figure out why he needs to go to Peru. So did I like this film? I think it's a cute film. Was I a Paddington person growing up? Not really. Am I British? No. So Paddington, I never had that like connection. It was more like the Caring Bears or Carrington. The Care Bears. Care Bears was more like, American when it comes to that way. So I remember more of the Care Bear books. I was never really into Barney growing up. So, and even the cartoons, like we weren't growing up on cartoons. So Thomas the Tank Engine was more of my brother. Me, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was more of my sister. Me, I don't know what it was more of like Disney. Let's be honest. It was Disney. Okay, you got me. Anyway, so this is a fun movie for families through in and throughout. This was a early access screening, and I felt like it did its job with the family, with the laughters of the people who love Paddington, who have a strong connection with Paddington, as well as kids who, I wouldn't say they're like, Paddington freaks, but everything that was happening on screen, it was bright, it was colorful, and I think it was a very solid message where it wasn't forced humor. Sometimes you have the Despicable Me, sometimes you have the Minions, where it feels very forced for what is happening and what they're trying to do. But this movie, it just felt very family oriented and just very cuddly. I wanted to hug Paddington because even though there are villains in this movie, Antonio Banderas and others, they are like the most pleasant villains that have been on screen through in and throughout. And I just think it's a cute little story. And when it comes to the story, it's about family. It's about where you come from. It's about, who is your tribe? Who is your family? Even though you might be from somewhere else, your family is now where you're at now, and it's time to, realize where you're at and how can I be part of that world. And I think that's a good story for what is happening in today's day and age with when things are occurring around the world when it comes to people going from point A to point B, and they're bringing everything with them and refuse to change for, where they're going for. Because it's like, it's about respect, and I think this movie does talk about that, where it's like, if you're going to go to X location, it's about respect to, like, know where you're going to, of, the language and things like that. Like, if I'm going to go to Portugal, I'm going to try to learn Portuguese. I'm not going to be the dumb American that refuses to learn Portuguese. That's just, it's disrespectful. Like, if I'm in Lisboa, I'm going to try to figure out what they do culturally. It's just the right thing to do. And this kind of has the same way with going to Peru and things like that. The cast in this movie. Olivia Colman, great. Antonio Banderas, great. Ben Whishaw as the voice acting, correct. And the family itself, fantastic. They know what they're doing. They know they've been in the other two movies. And there's a nice little cameo at the end of the film that I think people are going to like. Is it better than the first two? I'm going to say no. Like I said, it's a different director. The same director of this did the new Wonka movie, and I did not like the new Wonka movie whatsoever. And Mr. Joey King, if not mistaken, is his name that did the directing. It's a cute movie, right? Is it made for me? No, and that's okay, because like I said, I have no connection with Paddington, and I'm fine with that, because you go into this movie saying, you know what, this is a family movie. You know what, this is for the Paddington fans, even the older crowd, the 40-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, and maybe people with kids that are like, hey, you want to watch a cute little bear? Absolutely, and I think the kids are going to like that humor. There is some adult, quote-unquote, humor, but it's not like the undertone, like sexualized humor, or like undertones where it's like really nasty humor. It's more of like, that's a funny joke that an adult can enjoy, and maybe an older kid can enjoy, but nothing was like mean in this movie. Nothing was like oh, was that edgy? No, it was a nice, fluffy, you know, brown bear movie. And you know what? I didn't know that there is retirement homes for bears, and I would sure as heck volunteer through in and throughout if they could talk. And I wonder why the Peruvian bears can't talk, but only anyway. What do I know? What? Now, not the Peruvian bears, the one in El Dorado. Anyway, what do I know? It's a movie. Don't overthink it. Overall, Paddington, Peru, it does its job right. It knows its audience. It knows what it's trying to do for the people that are going to watch this movie. Through and throughout. I got nothing else to say. So, like the first two movies, I don't see why you wouldn't like the third in this trilogy. So, Paddington in Peru will receive a 4 out of 5 with Futon. It goes at 80%. So, let's see the critics and user scores gave this one. So, you have critics a 93% with 72 of them. No audience score just yet. Critic consensus. Paddington in Peru whisks away cinema's politest bear to a fresh setting under new creative stewardship, delivering a most agreeable adventure for the whole family. I think Paddington 2 still has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. 99%. It finally is not that someone had to do it and someone did it. Anyway, 80-93. Chase Hawk here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know this Bluetontopia. You Blue Futonians. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Watch this take tomorrow, week from month, and year from every single freaking one of you. Again, if you think something's wrong with the lighting, please let me know in the comments below.